What's up, guys? My name is Mara Sullivan, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today's video is going to be one video and a few that I will be doing here on my channel on my favorite influential women over 60. I have become known as the grandma in my group. Those people in my life who know me personally do now refer to me as a grandma. I have a lot about my life, about my personality, about my lifestyle that just are that of someone of a different generation, I guess. Like, I drink tea nonstop. I drink tea all day, every day. I still listen to the radio. I am subscribed to the New York Times newspaper. I still get a physical newspaper in the mail. Yes, I do. Like, just so many things about me and about my lifestyle. The music I listen to is not of this generation, not all of it. I'm still somewhat hip, and the fact that I use the word hip is very telling in of itself. But just like I just have these little things about me that very are grandma like, or I just have an old soul, I guess. And so I am very, very much leaning into that side of myself by doing these videos, by sharing things that I have learned from my favorite women over the age of 60. I might end up doing videos on some men as well. But for now, we're going to start out with doing my favorite women who are over 60. And today we are starting with the icon herself, Cher. As of today, 2025, Cher is 79 years old when I'm recording this video. And she does not look it at all. She's never looked her age. I'm 26, and Cher looks better than I do and has always looked better than me. Okay? Like, there's like Cher will put anyone my age, anyone younger than me, to shame. She's stunning. I mean, there's no other. She is one of the most beautiful women in the world. We all know that. My biggest takeaway from studying Cher's life and from, going through her story, listening to her, all of her interviews, just I've gotten so many takeaways, but my number one takeaway from Cher's life is to always take your power back, no matter how bad a situation is, no matter how bad a circumstance is, no matter how bad a situation is, always take your power back. Another huge important lesson that I have learned from Cher's life is to never let losing things make you lose who you are. Cher has lost a lot of people, she's lost a lot of places, and she's lost a lot of things, but Cher has never lost herself. I think it's very important to never let losing people, places, or things make you lose yourself. Never let losing things make you lose who you are. If you know anything about Cher's life, we can't talk about Cher without talking about Sonny and her late husband, Sonny Bono did um, financially abuse her, emotionally abused her, cheated on her several times. They just had a very rocky, shaky relationship. And, there is so much that we can learn just in that alone. But at the end of their relationship, Sonny did end up basically stealing all of Cher's money. He um, made her like sign contracts that she didn't know that she was basically signing over her entire career essentially, but she was. He basically just manipulated Cher out of all of her money, and she didn't find that out until the relationship ended. When she asked him, like, how could you do this? His response was, "I knew you would always leave me one day," which is not a response to ever take someone's money, especially not someone you've known their whole life. Like, Cher and Sonny were like, he saw the come up, like he was there with her doing all of that. Um, but you live and you learn, and Sonny did end up stealing all of Cher's money once they got divorced, and she did not let that stop her. She did shows in Vegas, which was very unpopular at the time. Vegas, at the time that Cher first went to Vegas after divorcing Sonny, was seen as the elephant's graveyard. It was seen as basically the place that stars went to die. Like, it was such a thing to not do. Like, it was just seen as a thing that would ruin your career. And Cher went to Vegas and she started over, and she made all of that money back and so much more. But I think it's such an important lesson to learn within that story is that, or within Cher's story in general, you can always pick yourself back up. No matter how bad it is, and things do get bad, and in a lot of our lives, things will get bad. Um, don't let losing a person, losing a place, losing a thing. In that case, it was money, it was her husband. Don't let losing things make you lose who you are. Lucille Ball actually told Cher when, she was going through everything with Sonny and wanting to leave him. Lucille Ball told her straight up, F him. You are the one with the talent. And, you know, it was true. There, of course, there'd be no Sonny, there'd be no Sonny without Cher, there'd be no Cher without Sonny. But at the end of the day, you have to end up doing what's best for you. And I think a lot of times in love and in relationships, and especially if you're in a relationship with someone you have history with, where you're in a relationship with someone who you feel like you would not be where you are without that person, it can be easy to feel like you owe that person something, or you owe that person your life. I think you can let the good in that person outweigh the bad, but you have to put things into perspective and separate the good from the bad and realize, if you're in that kind of relationship, if you're in that kind of situation, you really have to take a step back and view things kind of from an outsider's perspective, get that bird's eye view of the relationship, and kind of take emotions out of it a little bit and be like, okay, this person is actually not good for me. They might be a good person, they have good things about them, but they just are not for me. They're doing some bad things, or they have some bad ways about them, and that I just don't like. That just don't align with me. And it is okay to walk away when you're in that kind of situation. I think that is huge, a huge lesson to learn about love, especially if you're in a relationship like that, and not even a romantic relationship. If you've been in anything long term, anything that you have gotten emotionally invested in, and you feel like you have to walk away from, whether it's a house, a job, anything, a friendship that you are like, you feel tied to, or you feel like you owe that person something, it can be extremely hard to walk away. But like I said, you have to be able to take a step back and put things into perspective, and just be like, at the end of the day, I'm not good. This person isn't good for me, and honestly, I'm not good for them if they're treating me like crap, basically. And so, just don't be scared to get away. Don't be scared to remove yourself from that situation. She talks openly about being depressed while she was with Sunny. She talks about being depressed to the point where she did want to take her own life. She wanted to literally jump off of a balcony. And she said that when she was standing there one day, she was just so overwhelmed with the loneliness. Sunny had very much isolated her. He had kept her from doing a lot of things that she wanted to do, and he just made her circle extremely small, which is what most controlling people do in a relationship. They remove you from everyone as much as possible. They isolate you as much as possible so you don't have anyone to turn to. And, Cher said when she was standing on a balcony, literally contemplating her life, she just thought to herself, I don't have to jump. I can just leave him. And that's what she did. And like I was saying before, when you're in that kind of relationship, obviously I don't know Cher personally, these are not her words, but I can imagine that it's extremely hard when you have so much history with that person. You feel like you probably owe that person something, because you she probably felt she wouldn't be where she was without him. But again, you can just leave him. Like, at the end of the day, you have to end up doing what's best for you. And Cher took all of her strength, I'm sure, but she made that decision to do what was best for her. And I love that, like, it was like such a light bulb moment, and that she describes it in such a simple way, where she was like, I don't have to jump, I can just leave him. Sometimes the most simple, plain, like, obvious answer is always the hardest thing to do, because of all of that, like, trauma and baggage and everything that we feel for that person sometimes. So I think that is, like, definitely the best lesson, or one of the biggest lessons, and one of the biggest takeaways, especially when it comes to love. And like I said, any type of relationship or anything that you might feel that emotional tie to, that can be extremely hard to let go of, take it from Cher. Don't jump, just leave him, or just leave whatever the situation is. Another one of my favorite things, like I said before, Lucille Ball did tell Cher, F Sunny, you're the one with the talent. And Cher ended up telling Tina Turner that same thing later on, when Tina Turner went to Cher for advice on her relationship with Ike Turner, who was also very controlling. And Cher ended up telling Tina Turner the same thing. F him, you are the one with the talent. And again, a lot of these times we need to be reminded of who we are in those situations. Like, you're the one who got it all, okay? And just don't be scared to walk away. Cher also told Tina asked Cher um, how she left Sunny in the first place, and Cher literally said, "I just left and I just kept going. Like I walked out and I just kept going." And I think that idea of never looking back is also extremely important. Again, when you're in a relationship or have any, you feel tied to anything that um, is emotionally like holding you back, or you just have that connection to something. I think that that idea of never looking back is super important. She literally said, "I just walked out and I kept going, and I just kept going, and I just kept going, and I just kept going." And a lot of times it can be hard to move forward when you feel so tied and so connected to that person, but you have to remember that just keep swimming, like Dory said. Just keep moving forward. Do your best to never look back. Another one of my favorite things about Cher is that she never accepts circumstances that she does not want. She has this habit, this very I guess resilience is the word. She just doesn't accept things that she doesn't want. Like straight up, she does not accept circumstances that she does not want ever. And when Sunny and Cher first started out, like this, that theme is like interwoven throughout her entire life. When Sunny and Cher first started out, they were unable to become successful here in America because of the way that they looked. And so Cher literally, they moved to England. Like she sold everything she had. They made it work, and they literally just went to England. She couldn't get discovered here in America, so she moved to a different country. When Cher was told that she would never be an actress, she was told that she would never, you know, she couldn't act, or that she would never be in the movies. Cher turned around and she won a freaking Oscar. When when Sonny left her and he took all of her money, she went to Vegas and she started over. I love that, just that continuous theme of never letting her circumstances, never accepting circumstances that she does not want. And another thing that I love about the moving from America to England story in particular is that Cher, if they couldn't get discovered mainly because of their looks, she had that bohemian, the long hair, the boho style hippie thing going on back in the day, and there was no word for boho style back then. There was no word for a hippie back then. They were just seen, for lack of a better term, they were kind of seen as freaks. And so nobody understood the look, nobody understood the vision, no one understood what they were trying to do. And what I love about that is that Cher could have easily just conformed to American style. She could have dyed her hair blonde, which she does have a blonde wig now. But, she could have changed her looks and wore whatever clothes were popular at the time. She could have, tried to change her voice because she has that very, deeper toned voice. Like she could have done so many different things to try to conform to what America, would have accepted her for, if that makes sense. Like she didn't do that. She literally just stayed who she was and moved to a different place. She didn't change who she was, she changed her environment. And I think that is one of the absolute biggest takeaways you can learn from anyone in any situation. A lot of times, you are not the problem, it's your environment. And, if you are someone who feels stuck, if you're someone who feels like you, people can't really see you or don't get it or aren't, you know, I love that quote that we see on social media all the time. Like, other people aren't supposed to understand your calling. It wasn't a conference call. Like that is so true. Like a lot of times you don't have to change who you are. You don't have to change what you're doing, but a lot of times you will have to change your environment in order to get to where you're trying to go. And, I think that's a huge lesson for anyone who might feel stuck at a job or stuck with a person or stuck in a certain city, place, country. Sometimes you need to just change your environment in order to be accepted. She moved to England, and as they say, the rest is history, because she ended up, Sonny and Cher got famous overseas, and then ended up, as we all know, coming back to America and becoming successful. Which I also think is another huge important lesson in that, is that sometimes you won't have to walk away or change that environment forever, but sometimes it is necessary to remove yourself even temporarily, from a person, from a place, from a situation that's not serving you or that's just simply not aligning with you, and make it work somewhere else and give it some time. Maybe you'll be able to go back. They were able to come back here and become very successful. I think it's a huge lesson to learn. Sometimes you're not the problem, sometimes your environment is. Another thing I love about Cher is that she did start out, this goes back to her complicated relationship with Sonny Bono. She did start out lacking confidence. The only reason Sonny and Cher were a thing was because Cher was scared to perform by herself. She asked Sonny to sing with her. That is how Sonny and Cher became a thing. And eventually, her confidence grew, and she, as we all know, is now able to perform by herself with no problem. She was eventually able to grow her confidence, but I think that that's also, an important thing to remember too, is that if you need someone, with you, if you need someone to like, I feel like the term hand holding is seen as so negative in our world. Like, you don't need to hold their hand that whole time, but sometimes you do need that support, and it's okay to ask for that. That support to help you to get to where you want to be. And eventually, it's like faking it till you make it. And then eventually you're going to get to the place where you can hold your own, but sometimes you do need that support, and sometimes you do need that confidence. And I just wanted to throw that in there because I like I've been saying this entire video, even though Cher and Sunny had a very tumultuous relationship, you know, there was so much love there because they got along so well. They had such amazing chemistry. But, things just all aren't always meant to be. Sometimes people are just meant to get you to a certain place, and that's it. And so I just wanted to throw that in there about the confidence thing, because it's okay if you need support. It's okay if you need help in order to get comfortable doing what you're supposed to be doing. It doesn't mean to just not do it. Sometimes you just need help along the way. Don't give up on your dream just because you're not confident yet. But just, ask for the help, ask for the support when you need it, and then work your way up to being able to, stand on your own 2 feet. It's okay to ask for help, but don't give up on the dream altogether. Is what I'm trying to say basically. I cannot talk about Cher without talking about the most famous quote on the planet, "Mom, I am a rich man." And when Cher's mother told her, "Why don't you," or asked her rather, "Why don't you just settle down and marry a rich man?" Cher responded, as we all know, "Mom, I am a rich man." And basically, that's the entire video. Thank you for watching. Um, what I love so much about that quote, as all of us do, Cher has there have been many, many, many quotes that Cher has said over the years about men and her relationship with men, and men are not a necessity, men are a luxury, men are like dessert. We don't need them. And I love her so much because over and over and over again we always hear Cher say, you don't need a man. A man is like dessert. He's a luxury, he's not a necessity. You do not need a man. We don't need men. You will be okay. Like it's so funny, because she also does have so many um, of these grandiose relationships and these popular relationships, but she has made it work for her. She's not being quote unquote like used by these men or anything anymore. And so I think it's when the mindset shifted, it's I think she was able to have so much more fun, and I think it's so freeing to hear a woman say that. But I had to throw that in there because it's the most famous quote on the planet. "Mom, I am a rich man." And by the way, I think when she says that we don't need men, obviously we need men. Okay, the way the world works, we need men for some things. But I love the interview when she was like, I'm pretty sure it was a Barbara Walters interview too, where um, the interviewer asked her like, "Do you think we need men?" And Cher was like, "For what?" Like her answer was, "For what?" And she's like said it dead serious. The interviewer was also dead serious. Like, "Do you think we need men?" And Cher was like, "For what?" Like it was so spot on. Like that is just Cher in a nutshell. And as I was saying before, I think she's not saying like we don't need men. Like they are useful. But I think she was saying that we don't need men to be happy. Like women do not need men to be happy. We can, make ourselves happy. We can be independent. And she didn't say this, but I have seen the actual statistic that women do thrive being single, where men tend to fall apart being single. So I think that that kind of is where the we don't need men mentality comes from, because I think a lot of times, I think it's obviously it's changing significantly in our society, where it's like there was a sense of wholeness or feeling incomplete without that other person. But I think, the views are shifting and changing a lot, whereas women really do realize that, well, now the world is changing, so it's just easier for us to make our own money. It's easier for us to own our own homes. It's easier for us to be independent. There is a lot to be said for years ago where that just wasn't an option. Women weren't even allowed to have bank accounts. And so it was designed for you to need a man. But now you can be independent if you choose to be. And so I just, had to throw that in there with the mom I am a rich man thing. But going back to the statistic I was just talking about, it is shown that women do thrive being single, whereas men do tend to not thrive after a long period of time. If men are single for too long, they do tend to start to fall apart, and for lack of better terms. And this is not me hating, it's not judgment, no heat, no judgment. These are literal facts. If you do the research, women do thrive being single, whereas men tend to not. And I'm just going to leave that there. But I think that that ties into the ideas of what she's saying when with all of her, amazing, empowering quotes on, the mom I am a rich man. We don't need a man. Men are luxuries, not necessities. That whole idea. And now let's get into some of Cher's routines, habits, because as I said at the top of this video, she looks better than I do. She has always looked better than I do. She puts any girl my age to shame. So the things I could find about Cher's diet: she does not do dairy, she does not smoke, does not drink, and never has been a real drinker. She drinks maybe 3 to 4 times a year. I know people who drink 3 to 4 times a week or 3 to 4 times a day. Cher drinks 3 to 4 times a year and always has. It's one thing to not drink as you get older, but Cher wasn't drinking when she was younger. I was listening to an interview, and someone asked her about Studio 54, and what was the question? The interviewer was like, did you used to like have to eat before you went to Studio 54 because it was the most popular club and people were always drinking and dancing? And she was like, she didn't need to eat because she didn't drink when she got there. And so like, she is naturally the party. Like Cher is just, she just has that natural personality, which I think is so cool and so amazing and so fun, because most people can't, like, especially in entertainment, a lot of people can't like turn it on without some kind of substance. But Cher is just naturally that girl. Like she is naturally like that, and I think it's so incredible. It's so amazing. Um, and she really just is so powerful. Like her energy is crazy. But she does not smoke. She does not drink. Does not do dairy. Cher pretty much eats vegetarian. She does eat chicken. I did come across her where she did mention eating chicken, but for the most part, Cher has a vegetarian diet. She does not do dairy. She does do non-fat milk, not whole milk, but she just tries to avoid dairy altogether. Definitely no cheese. Cher hates cheese. I did find that out. But also no refined sugar, but she does have a soft spot for gelato. Cher has been seen eating ice cream all over the world. That is her thing. So I think that's her like little way of doing the no sugar thing in moderation, or no refined sugar in moderation. She does love ice cream. She has her own brand of gelato. I think it's called Sherlato. And so she does love gelato. She does love ice cream. She also works out very, very often. Her doing a 5 minute plank went viral a few years ago, I think, because she did that 5 minute plank. I'm pretty sure she was like well over 70 when she did that, which is incredible. So one of my favorite things about her, she does not let her age. She says that she does not use the age card when it comes to her working out. So she doesn't let how old she is determine what kinds of workouts she does. I think that's also extremely important as you get older, to still maintain being able to do a lot of the same exercises that you've always done. Another thing I found out about her routine, when it comes to diet, is that this famous diva pasta sauce that she makes and that she loves. I believe she learned from Sonny's mother. Sonny Bono is or was Italian, and she learned this pasta sauce that apparently everyone raves about. In her family, she makes it for people and puts it in jars and gives it to them for Christmas. I don't think she's like made a brand out of the recipe, but she has shared the recipe, and so I will leave it on the screen. Cher's famous diva pasta sauce. Cher does not drink coffee, which is amazing. Like that kind of goes back to her like never drinking thing because she's just naturally like that, which I think is so cool. I did not read if she doesn't drink caffeine at all or if she just doesn't drink coffee specifically because I don't drink coffee specifically, but I do drink caffeine. I do have chai. My favorite chai tea I will leave on here. It is the Tazo organic um, chai tea. I'm pretty sure it'll be on the screen. But that is what I have pretty much every single day. Coffee tends to give me headaches. It makes me feel exhausted. If I have, too much coffee, it just does not make me feel good at all. So I do drink chai. I did not see if she drinks caffeine at all or if she just does not drink coffee, but I did read that Cher does not drink coffee at all. No coffee, no red meat. Like I said, she does stick to pretty much being vegetarian. These are all of the little habits, a few of the routines, a bit of a lifestyle, things that I have learned about Cher and lessons that I've learned from her. I hope that you guys got a takeaway from this video. Please comment down below your favorite influential people. It can be women, men over 60 because that is my demographic. Like that, I consider myself one of them. I learned the most from people who are so much older than me. I just get so many takeaways. This is my hobby. This is what I love to do is learning people's life story. And so it's really cool to have a place to come on here and share what I've learned about a few of my favorite people with you because this is what I love to do. In my free time, my favorite thing to do is watch documentaries, read autobiographies, listen to interviews, listen to all the podcasts, and, just consume so much information about my favorite people and how they've gotten to where they are. And it really helps me, put things into perspective in my own life and be able to share it with you guys. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and go check out the rest of the videos on my channel. I will talk to you guys in my next one. Bye.